dawn of the 20th century, a story originating from the Grand Canyon astonished the research community.
This fantastical and mysterious tale will continue to spark the curiosity of many future generations.
The event occurred in 1909, when the Phoenix Gazette published an article that shocked the archaeological world. Researchers had made an astonishing discovery hidden deep within a vast labyrinth of the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon is the world's greatest canyon in terms of scale, depth, and length.
This discovery suggested a connection to one of the planet's most ancient civilizations, Egyptian civilization.
According to the article, an expedition funded by the Smithsonian Institution, led by Professor S.A. Jordan, ventured into the most remote and inaccessible area of the Grand Canyon. That was Marble Canyon. There, they accidentally discovered a series of caves that could change humanity's perception forever. These caves contained evidence of ancient Egyptian civilization. What mysteries lie hidden deep within the majestic wonder that Mother Nature bestowed upon our planet? Could the Grand Canyon explain the existence and connection to an ancient civilization? Let's search for answers to these questions in today.
The mystery lies deep beneath a world wonder, the Grand Canyon. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Dark Truth Files channel to support the entire team.
Let's begin. Let's admire one of humanity.
You will surely be overwhelmed by its grandeur, vastness, and uniquely beautiful colors. Subscribe to the Dark Truth Files channel to support the entire
team. The grandeur, vastness, and strange, unique colors of the Grand Canyon will give you the feeling of being lost on an alien planet, no longer belonging to Earth. Amidst the immense plateau, the ground suddenly sank, forming a giant, deep basin, full of crisscrossing cuts. From that basin rose countless reddish-brown rock mountains, shaped like stacked ancient citadels.
The mountains here have very peculiar shapes with remarkably uniform and majestic rock base.
Water, wind, and time have carved layers of rock onto their surface, forming an extremely special geological formation. Researchers believe the Grand Canyon is nearly 2 million years old. And within the special terrain of the Grand Canyon, explorers are said to have found a network of tunnels and rooms. Specifically in Marble Canyon, one of them is said to contain items, artifacts connected to ancient Egyptian civilization. These caves were described as vast and extremely complex. Archaeologists actually found rooms used for living and even for conducting rituals. The layout of the rooms in the cave was described as having a striking similarity to ancient Egyptian temples or tombs. All of this makes us question their true origin, as the vast geographical distance was a major barrier in ancient times.
It is difficult for a civilization to exist in such widely separated places on the globe. More specifically, those descriptions refer to a cave system named Kinkite Caverns.
This cave was named after the head of the archaeological group that discovered them, G. Kinkite. Kinkite and his team boated through the Colorado River Canyon and then entered the Grand Canyon. That area is very rich in minerals with precious metals like gold and silver. Kinkite wanted to see what he and his team could find before the area was banned from entry by the government. Kinkite discovered a series of rooms with complex architecture, covered by desert dust for thousands of years. He followed exquisitely carved stairs leading deep inside the cave. That passage was clearly man-made. Kinkite stepped in, and the unexpected happened. Under the weak flashlight beams, a series of statues depicting ancient Egyptians appeared before the expedition. The rooms were identical to the burial places of pharaohs from ancient times. But all of that was just the beginning. Kinkite continued deeper with his team.
A massive complex, estimated to be sufficient for about 50,000 people to live in, appeared before the explorer.
That was truly a groundbreaking discovery.
In addition to the front statues, the walls are also decorated with paintings that evoke associations with the daily life along the Nile River of the ancient people.
The artifacts discovered by Kinkite are described as extremely vivid and exquisite. Inside the cave, there is even a separate area for metalworking. And according to Kinkite's observation, if this complex truly existed since ancient times, then clearly the technological level of humans in that era could not have reached such heights. Even more surprisingly, Kinkite discovered a room containing dozens of carefully preserved mummies, similar to what modern humans found in Akkad.
The presence of these mummies and the mummification methods of the people living in the Nile River Valley and the Grand Canyon.
Kinkite understood that to fully uncover all these mysteries, he needed greater assistance.
If the rooms discovered in the Grand Canyon are indeed related to the Akkad civilization,
we would truly gain a better understanding of the daily life, culture, and economic trade activities of the ancient people. One of the most impressive artifacts in this exploration is the statues that are identical to the gods or pharaohs of the Akkad people. The presence of these precious artifacts proves that this was clearly not merely a fleeting contact between two cultures, but that the ancient Akkad culture had indeed existed here in the past.
However, the authenticity of these artifacts remains a hot topic in many debates to this day. Kinkite sent the records and artifacts he found to the Smithsonian, the most famous historical museum in the United States.
Clearly, in the grand narrative of the vanished Akkad civilization,
the artifacts discovered by Kinkite are the most tangible link between modern humans and the past.
Perhaps from these artifacts, we will uncover secrets that have been sealed by time.
The shocking information about the cave in the Grand Canyon quickly captured the attention of researchers.
Scientists from the Smithsonian Museum quickly arrived here to uncover the truth.
The team of scientists in Kinkite discovered something truly.
The ancient people had actually built an almost perfectly symmetrical structure.
All the tunnels or caves lead to a central chamber.
In that room, they discovered a large statue, similar to the Buddha statue in Eastern culture. The team of exploration researchers proposed a hypothesis that
perhaps a civilization that originally existed on the other side of the world also formed and developed in the Grand Canyon in ancient times.
Did highly educated people with exceptional talents from Asia come to North America by some means in the past? You know, modern humans call America the New World because we think it was truly isolated and only discovered in recent centuries.
Could it be that the ancient Akkad people discovered America before Columbus? From the late 19th century to the early 20th century, there were a series of articles about the discovery of mummies believed to resemble Akkad within the continent. For example, in the Mississippi Valley. However, these discoveries were often incomplete, lost, or even destroyed. Therefore, verification is extremely difficult.
In fact, the idea that ancient Akkad people crossed the fierce oceans to reach America thousands of years ago is a hypothesis that could overturn all existing historical values.
These seemingly impossible things could still very well have happened, because ancient Akkad had built structures beyond the imagination of modern humans, such as the pyramids, for example.
As scientific and historical research community, the Smith. Therefore, the story of the Grand Canyon led to a flood of rampant speculation.
Could it be that there are things in humanity's past that must forever be left to sleep and cannot be awakened? As oral legends about the civilization that once existed in the Grand Canyon spread increasingly, the controversies also grew accordingly. The Grand Canyon is not merely a magnificent landscape bestowed by nature, it is also a symbol of a hidden part of history. The Smithsonian Institute, since its establishment, has been the guiding torch of American archaeology.
The scientists here have led many explorations and practices for the people, those who have become a better place. But this still could not extinguish the public's doubts. Why would a place renowned as a pioneer in archaeology, and those who have become a better place? Therefore, the people have become a better place. Therefore, the people have become a better place. Therefore, the people have become a better place. Why would a place renowned as a pioneer in archaeology overlook such an important discovery?
What sea is hidden behind the silence of Smithsonian? Are the artifacts previously discovered by Kinkutate being concealed in the basement of this museum? The contact of ancient civilizations across oceans is not an impossible occurrence.
What if the ancient Cub people received assistance from friends from another planet? Perhaps everything would become easier to understand if we believed in this hypothesis.
It is possible that the Cub people came to the Grand Canyon and left marks that human time could not erase in this place. Pre-hieroglyphic texts found in many different cultures
actually contain evidence suggesting journeys to distant lands.
The fact that Vikings reached America before Columbus truly proves that. Perhaps what we often hear in historical documents seems to be accurate in reality. There is also evidence that Chinese explorers reached America hundreds of years before the Vikings.
But reaching the Grand Canyon is an entirely different story.
How could ancient people possess advanced technologies to excavate millions of tons of rock to build such an underground city?
The Hopi, Native American groups living in several states including New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, and Colorado. Renowned for their accurate prophecies about the world's future, have an interesting legend about ants.
According to them, they are creatures smaller than humans with eyes as large as insects. When the Great Flood occurred, swallowing all civilizations on Earth, a bright star suddenly appeared in the sky.
And the ant people brought the Hopi to the cave beneath the Grand Canyon. Most ancient civilizations have myths related to floods.
They describe a global catastrophe when sea levels rose. Civilizations that once existed on Earth were swallowed up.
But there is another common point in these flood stories.
Those who appeared after the terrible flood were chosen by the gods. And perhaps those were the people in the Grand Canyon. The ancient Cab people used the Nile River as a convenient transportation route for goods, or indeed navigated the flow of the Nile. However, their transoceanic voyages still caused much controversy. In addition to river navigation, the ancient Cab people had ships capable of long sea voyages.
The Cab expedition to Sioux Point,
during the reign of Queen Hatshepsut, remains a fascinating and mysterious voyage that humans have yet to decipher.
According to ancient origins, all types of valuable trade goods originated from Punt. An important commercial expedition launched by a Cap Queen Hatshepsut returned not only with spices and live plants but also with gold, ivory, and some live animals. Large expeditions regularly brought a Cap goods such as tools and weapons to Punt, returning with precious aromatic items. To this day, scholars have not determined the exact location of this kingdom, as the pharaohs kept it secret.
The location of Sioux Point was once identified with present-day Somalia.
But the current convincing theory suggests that Punt is located in southern Sudan, the two regions of Eritrea and Ethiopia, as there are many types of flora and fauna described in reliefs, paintings, or written records. Most scholars today believe that Punt is located in the southeast of Akap, likely in the coastal area, stretching from Somalia, Djibouti, Eritrea, northern Ethiopia, and the Red Sea coast of Sudan. However, some scholars have noted that thanks to ancient inscriptions, the location of Punt is determined to be in the Arabian Peninsula, possibly also covering the Horn of Africa and southern Arabia today. After the period of the pharaohs ended, Punt became an unreal and mythical land in mythology and legends. But many also believe that the punt that ancient or modern people seek is actually today's Grand Canyon. Supporters of this theory have found similarities in artistic styles, architecture, and religion in the lands of ancient Egyptians and Native Americans, which are geographically very distant. Although many scientists argue that this is merely cultural evolution, not any direct contact.
But advances in genetic science may help modern humans understand the migration of ancient peoples. However, as of now, there is no genetic evidence supporting the hypothesis of the presence of Egyptians and Native Americans in pre-Columbian times.
But despite scientific evidence, theories of transoceanic contact still attract much attention. Do you recognize what this is? Those are hieroglyphs. But they were not found in Egypt in the tombs of pharaohs but were found in Australia.
Gosford glyphs, also known as Carillon hieroglyphs, are a group of about 300 Egyptian-style hieroglyphs located in Carillon, Australia.
They were found in an area famous for Aboriginal rock art between Gosford and Woy Woy, New South Wales, in Brisbane Water National Park.
These strange symbols, bearing the breath of ancient Egyptian civilization, were deeply carved into two large sandstone rocks.
They have endured despite the weathering of time. The truth is also like that,
though obscured by the dust of time. Clearly one day we will uncover all the mysteries of the primitive universe.
For decades, local residents on the central coast of New South Wales have debated the authenticity of this evidence. And many believe that these special symbols originate from ancient Egypt.
Brave explorers climb up a narrow gap between two rock faces, entering a narrow passage to examine the hieroglyphs.
These symbols appear quite familiar to anyone with knowledge of ancient Egypt, and include images of Anubis.
The name of the king Khufu inscribed within the cartouche is customary, and many others.
They depict boats, chickens, dogs, owls, humans, and what seem to be names of kings. One of them is Khufu. Did the ancient Egyptians actually travel to these continents and leave their mark here? Or is it simply a decades-long hoax?
Now, the question arises. Did ancient Egyptians ever set foot in Australia?
Egyptologists have visited and studied these inscriptions. They concluded that this is a hoax, with many contradictions and errors in the characters. However, that hasn't stopped many locals from maintaining belief in their authenticity. Others suggest they might be the work of local residents in the area, or reflect the Egyptology craze that spread worldwide after the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb. Egyptologist Boyo Asinga of Dak Makuri also dismissed the claim that these inscriptions could have been made by Egyptians shipwrecked millennia ago.
According to him, they are very disorganized and do not follow any coherent pattern.
This means it's possible that someone, or a group of people, drew these hieroglyphs here, but they come from different periods in Egyptian history. So, who made them?
As quoted in the ABC article, Dr. Asinga believes these inscriptions likely date from a more recent period in Australian history.
He suggests these carvings were probably made in the 1920s, as interest in ancient Egypt surged after the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb at that time. Throughout human history, many civilizations used glyph-based writing, but only Egyptian writing is truly considered hieroglyphic. We don't know exactly when hieroglyphs developed, but we know they date back to very ancient times.
The idea of a hieroglyphic writing system might have been introduced to Egypt, starting from Sumerian cuneiform, but this hypothesis is highly debated. Our oldest evidence of proto-hieroglyphs dates back to around 3500 BCE. The first full sentence in true hieroglyphs dates from around 2800 to 2700 BCE.
Both examples were found in tombs, from drawings on vessels buried during the Naqada II period and reliefs in tombs from the First Dynasty. Although still debated, theories of transoceanic contact in ancient times continue to receive significant support. Many believe that modern-day Australia is the location of the legendary land of plenty from ancient myths.
If these claims are true, it would drastically change modern humans' perception of these ancient Egyptians. Perhaps they were even more advanced than we are now, many times over.
Clearly, as time silently flows, the hidden truths deep within the Grand Canyon remain beyond modern human understanding. Few have claimed to have actually found the mysterious civilization in the Grand Canyon. This is the couple Jerry Wills and Kathy, who continuously research the discoveries of King Cat in the Grand Canyon.
Jerry Wills and his wife Kathy have studied the mystery of King Cat's cave for many years.
Obviously, uncovering a past buried by thousands of years of time is no easy task. Their approach is to find the original base of the explorers, which would lead them to the cave filled with mysteries of an advanced civilization. After years of researching and exploring the area claimed by King Cat, Jerry and his team say they have found the cave. The couple discovered a site covered with artifacts from ancient times. And on the canyon wall just below this area, they believe is the entrance to the underground city.
However, exploration is very difficult. The entire area believed to contain the cave has been designated by the federal government as off-limits. About 1,000 caves have been discovered in the Grand Canyon.
Many are man-made, but only about 30 have been mapped, and many of those have been sealed off for safety reasons.
Curiosity has always spurred human. Many are willing to take risks and sign waivers accepting all possible worst-case scenarios. The government will not be responsible if any. But clearly, the authorities did not agree with this. Exploring a canyon like the Grand Canyon on one's own is extremely dangerous.
The question here is whether the US government is truly concerned about explorers?
In reality, they might want to hide mysteries that could permanently change human civilization. Some other caves in the Grand Canyon have been blocked by steel gates. It seems some mystery is being sealed off.
Despite the obstacles imposed by the federal government, some are still willing to risk fines or imprisonment to find the lost city in the Grand Canyon.
When Jerry and Kathy's group tried to explore the area, an unmarked aircraft appeared from the sky and flew over their heads. Clearly, they were being watched, even though that part of the Grand Canyon is a no-fly zone and, in fact, no aircraft are allowed to fly below the rim.
Jerry Gould believes this was a warning, and his group decided not to continue the expedition. Exploring the cave from above is nearly impossible, but what about exploring it from below, as G. Kinkid did? Another group of explorers tried this, but as they neared the site, a black helicopter appeared.
Not a tourist helicopter, nor a black civilian helicopter, but something like this.
A fan of military hardware, you.
Then, when this group explored the upper area, searching for the ventilation shafts Kinkid wrote about, and realized this might be a way down, they found randomly floating giant living blocks in midair.
Some of these blocks are platforms near the rim edge with hardware and steel anchor rings, intended to support climbers descending the rim. When asked about this, Uncle Kinkit said these are just ancient structures to prevent rockfalls.
Additionally, in this forbidden zone, the rock carvings also feature hieroglyphs referencing great works directly related to ancient Ahab.
As certain that there couldn't.
David Hatcher Childress is a famous author who has published 200 books, often dealing with ancient mysteries. He believes the US government is actively suppressing archaeological discoveries.
He mentions that, although the film Raiders of the Lost Ark is fictional, the final scene showing the warehouse is close to reality.
Indicating that the Smithsonian, an independent federal agency, is hiding some of the most important discoveries made in the Americas. He says the cover-up began in 1881 with the famous geologist John Wesley Powell. Powell appointed Cyrus Thomas as director of the Eastern Division of the Bureau of Ethnology at the Smithsonian Institution. When Thomas arrived at the Smithsonian, he believed that a distinct race with different construction methods had come to the Americas before the indigenous peoples we commonly know.
This school of thought is called diffusionism, suggesting that throughout history there has been widespread dispersal of culture and civilization even across vast distances. The Smithsonian took the opposite approach and promoted isolationism, which claims that most civilizations were isolated and had little contact with each other. Especially when separated by large bodies of water, i.e., oceans, this becomes even more difficult.
It is believed that advanced and populous civilizations in the Ohio and Mississippi valleys were very rare.
They had no connection to other advanced cultures like the Aztecs, Toltecs, or Maya.
But the Mississippi flows from Canada all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. Saying these cultures were isolated is laughable. When examining the ancient mounds of the American Midwest, they reveal the existence of a single complex
with cities larger than those in Ohio at the time.
They also reveal graves of extremely tall people, sometimes as tall as 7 or 8 feet. When the Spiral Mound was excavated in the 1930s, skeletons 7 to 8 feet tall were found.
This was a time when the average male height was about 5 to 6 feet, so they were truly giants.
Unfortunately, those skeletons are dead. In 1892, a stone coffin was discovered by Frank Burns in Alabama during a geological survey.
The coffins were about 7 meters long and appeared to be carved with fire and metal tools. These findings were sent to the Smithsonian in 1894, but the Smithsonian denied them. Their response was, "We cannot find the specimens in our collection, although records show they were received." But how could such heavy giant stone coffins weighing several tons disappear so easily? After a while, that is 8 years later, the Smithsonian declared they had found the coffins, but they were stored in a termite-infested warehouse, so no one could go in to see them. During World War II, a crew building a balloon in Alaska excavated a mound containing giant human bones.
The skeletons were said to be twice or 3 times the size of a normal person. This discovery was confirmed by multiple sources. The Smithsonian collected these findings, and that was the last anyone heard of it.
Stories like this exist from Alaska all the way to Mexico City.
There seems to be a common thread with the stories we mentioned earlier about Great Canyon.
There's an amazing discovery found by someone. The Smithsonian will step in.
Then, all evidence disappears as quickly as bubbles in a rain.
Perhaps these are extremely dangerous secrets. They could literally turn the future of all humanity upside down.
It seems the US government truly has evidence showing that an advanced race existed in North America long before the indigenous tribes arrived. For whatever reason, this is evidence they do not want to reveal. The scientific community might consider this nonsense, but the Hopi and other tribes in Great Canyon believe in it. The Hopi recount that when the first people appeared at Great Canyon, they sent a messenger to the Sun Temple, praying for peace.
That messenger has not yet returned, but even today in the Hopi tribe, at sunset, one can see the elders on the rooftops,
gazing for the setting sun, waiting for the messenger to come home.
And when he does,
the ancient land will be returned to the first people. And all that evidence seems to have been hidden away by the US government.
Do you believe that an advanced ancient civilization existed in Great Canyon thousands of years ago? Was it humans, our ancestors, or a mysterious species like reptilians, for example? And all of G. Kingate's stories are true.
Or are they merely the product of a vivid imagination from a starving editor?
The mountains in Great Canyon resemble temples, castles, fortresses millions of years old, appearing and disappearing in the mist.
Perhaps this topic will be discussed for a long time, until all truths are clarified.
Subscribe to the Dark Truth Files channel to watch the latest videos.